Hello and welcome back to another blaster review video for the channel. My name is Luke Triton and today we come full circle. So 4 years ago when I re-entered the hobby, the very first blaster review I did was of the N-Strike Stampede ECS. At long last, we come full circle with the N-Strike Icon Series Stampede ECS 50. So what is the Icon Series Stampede? Well, the Icon Series came out in 2019. Again, kind of ironically, the era came back to the hobby. But it's basically a re-release of old classic blasters. Well, iconic blasters, I should say, hence the series name. And it's really cool to see some of them back. I'm still waiting for the Icon Series Maverick. Why hasn't that been made yet? But the Stampede, who doesn't love the Stampede? As out of date as a lot of people see this to be, it's such a fun blaster, and I got to be honest, it's tempting me in becoming my new personal favourite. Is Regulator, you've got a competitor now. Oh my god, I love this thing all over again. So there are a few minor differences in this blaster compared to the original one, but I'm going to be doing a dedicated versus video of this versus the original. And I'm also going to do a combos for this because this thing has 6 tactical rails. 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, and 1 on each side. It is begging for combos. And no, they will not be the same as the one I made 4 years ago. I've got loads more attachments, loads more ideas, and I'm going to be making one anyway because combos are so much fun. Attachments are the best. But yes, this is basically the same as a regular Stampede. And again, like I mentioned a moment ago, there are a few minor differences. So first of all, the one I really noticed, on the tactical rails, they have the modern teeth design. They don't have the kind of spring-in smaller teeth. These are the bigger, kind of solid, in-place teeth. I kind of respect that in a way because that is a lot more sturdy, but taking attachments off is a bit more of a pain in the ass. But again, I can still understand why that's the case because it is using some slightly more modern methods and techniques when it comes to making this. I am pretty certain that the internals are the same. I haven't taken this apart, and I'm not really one for taking blasters apart anyways, so don't quote me on technical performances and so forth. That's not quite my area of expertise. The other minor difference is the Icon Series logo at the back of the blaster. I have an Icon Series 1 and an original blaster. So the Icon Series is something that never came to the UK. I got this on a stroke of luck. So there is a toy store called The Entertainer here in the UK. And there are lots of products that go on discount. I recently bought 2 Ultra Blasters at the same time as this. They were on discount. Sadly, this wasn't. There was one side of me that said I should really wait for this to go on discount because I can get this for a bargain price. But at the same time, there was only this one on the shelf. And it was there for a few weeks. And after I initially saw it, I thought, do I go for this now? Because that means I'll have it. But if I miss out on it, then I'm missing out on what is a really cool blaster. Again, I've technically got one, but it's the nature of this being an Icon Series blaster. So I paid £70 for this. That's not good, so to say. But again, nostalgia and sentimental value really is here for this kind of blaster. So this is a magazine-fed blaster. It is fully automatic, but it is not a flywheeler. So when this came out in 2010, I'm pretty sure I remember seeing this somewhere. Citation needed when I say this, but I'm fairly confident this beats Lego for Toy of the Year during its release year. I remember seeing that somewhere. And to be honest, that totally made sense. In 2010, everyone had one of these. So how does it work? There's no flywheels. It's technically a springer in its own way, and that's why so many springers love this. So this is your activation switch. Now, it will not function if there's no magazine in there, and of course if the safety door is open. Now you can keep that in the rear position, that kind of locks into place, which is pretty good, but even then if it's open like this, it still will not function. So that needs to be all the way closed, and there is a color indicator just here. If I try and bring this a bit closer, it's a bit difficult with this camera, but basically that's green when it's all the way closed, and if it's open, it's going to show some of the orange plastic, which is quite good. Some of the older N-Strike blasters had that. I don't know how many more modern blasters had a sort of color indication, but still that's quite a nifty feature. So even with the minor differences of the blaster itself, there were a couple of other differences in how this was packaged. This originally came with 3 18-dart stick magazines and 1 6-rounder. The Icon Series version only comes with 2 of these. That's not a bad thing. I mean, 2 magazines, that's still a good thing ultimately. But it's just a shame that we haven't got the same complete package. This also came with 2 attachments back in the day. A bipod foregrip, which I don't have here because, of course, it's the Icon series. It did not have that. But it does still come with the shield. Everybody knows this shield. And now I've got 2. I wonder what kind of combos I can do in the future with 2 of these massive Stampede shields. That's going to be very interesting. But yes, we are now at the point in our program where we will now do a firing demonstration. And this is always the fun part. And before we continue, I will mention here, like I've done with the past number of blaster reviews, when it comes to the firing demonstration, I'm going to alter the volume on the video itself, so you don't have to manually turn it down. That way I'm saving you from bursting your eardrums, so hopefully everything goes okay. So yes, when it comes to getting this ready, the magazine is inserted, the jam door is all the way closed, and now that is ready to go. With the switch in the downwards position, that can now fire. So if I lift that back up, nothing's going to happen. Again, if I open up the jam door, but now we are in the ready position, still nothing. Those electronic safeguards are wonders, and I love that those were a thing. This is such a thought out product, and some modern blasters, you know, think Elite 2.0 for example, don't quite have those in place, which is a real shame. This is a fully loaded magazine. I'm going to do a bit of burst firing and some semi-automatic firing with this as well. Now, because this is fully automatic, it is going to be interesting to go, you know, burst fire, semi, like, what do you mean? It's very easy to control the fire rate with this blaster. So we're going to begin now, without knocking something over. We are now going to begin with some semi-automatic firing. So once again, I'm going to alter the volume, but here we go. So yes, given the nature of how this blaster operates, you can kind of get the idea from there. So it's not a good blaster, so to say, again, because this was so innovative back in the day. But after this came out, flywheels were discovered with the Barricade, and that became the new norm. So yeah, it's quite cool to kind of get on with this. And you can also see, well, given my personal setup is going to be a bit difficult to see, but if you know the Stampede, this clear door here has some exposed functionality. It's still a window, but you still get to see how it operates. So hopefully if I move a little bit closer, you can kind of, again, personal setup doesn't quite allow it. But I'm now going to do some 3-round bursts. Once again, this is all trigger controlled. So here we go. And now for a fresh reload. This time, we're going to go full auto and we're going to dump the entire magazine. This is going to be good. Are you ready for this? Here we go. I've missed this so much. One thing I would like to point out is I did not fire the darts included. So I'm going to kind of value these. The darts included with the Icon series Stampede are yellow Icon series darts with black heads. They're nothing too special. I mean, it's got a bit of a print, and I suppose they look nice. But these have never been fired, and they're never going to be fired. I'm going to treasure these. I think this is really cool. And that kind of treasured value is there for me because, again, the fact that we have an Icon series blaster in the UK is so cool. So one thing I can actually do now is, because I've fired all of my darts, I'm going to try and show the exposed function in this little window piece here. So once again, I'm going to alter the volume so you don't have to turn down the video yourself. So hopefully you will be able to see what's actually going on. Can I try and... Okay, this should work. So here we go. That's basically how that works. And it's very interesting to try and describe what's going on inside, but it works really well. And to be honest, that's not a bad fire rate either. When you think to some of the full auto flywheelers, after a while when the batteries go, it can really struggle. Some of those flywheels can get some bad performances. This hits about 60 FPS on fresh batteries, But again, given the nature of the blaster, that's not bad. But in today's market, that ain't good. Now this is of course a battery operated blaster, and in order to use this you need 6 D-sized batteries. The fact they're in the back of the blaster is pretty good when it comes to the weight balance of things, and in order to get to the battery tray you undo these 2 screws in the back, and that is your battery tray. And now we are at the purchase recommendation points for this blaster, and this is an easy yes. I mean, this was the first blaster in the Icon series for a reason. It's so iconic, it's so much fun, it's one of the best Nerf blasters ever made, at least in my humble opinion. Nostalgia aside, it's a good blaster. I mean, you saw everything that happened. It looks good, it feels good, it fires good. It's just, it's more than good, it's excellent. However, I will say this one in particular is an Icon series blaster. You can go on eBay and get an original N-Strike Stampede for a fairly decent price, between £20 and £25 depending on the condition and if it comes with magazines and darts. You don't have to get an Icon series Stampede, but if you can find one, then that'd be probably a bit better in a way, because obviously compared to all of the older ones you're going to find on eBay, they'll have a bit of damage, a bit of paint wear, some chips, it might not completely function correctly. So an Icon series one is, cleaner, more up to date. But if you have a Nerf blaster collection, you need a Stampede in there somewhere. And that is the end of the video. Thank you all ever so much for watching. It has been an absolute blast, no pun intended, to be able to hold the Stampede again. I've got it right there in front of me, so if I look down longingly, it's nostalgia and fun hitting me all over again. When I say it's one of the best blasters ever, I mean that wholeheartedly. Now, because I've got 2, I might have a bit of a play around in the future about making this another personal blaster, in the same way I've done that with one of my regulators. But I'll save that for another day. Right now I've got other things to do. So thank you everyone so much for watching. In the description down below you can find links to my Flickr and Instagram pages if you want some sneak peeks and behind the scenes action. You can also find a link to my second YouTube channel where I do some more stuff outside of the Nerf and LEGO hobbies. You can also find a link to my Discord server where you can chat with like-minded fans of LEGO trains and Nerf blasters. Thanks again so much for watching everyone. Keep an eye out on my community tab for polls and updates, and I will see you all in the next episode. Bye bye.